Hello students, I am your Ramana sir. In this video, we are gonna learn a letter to God. This is today's our lesson, a letter to God. A letter to God. This is the exact sound of English, and it's a prose lesson. It's a prose lesson. What is prose? I want to ask you, what is a prose? And we discussed what is a poetry at the time of Dust of Snow and Fire and Ice. And this lesson, we should understand a little bit about what is the definition of prose. Prose. Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Yeah. A prose is nothing but a written or spoken language, ordinary language, or written or spoken ordinary language in its form, ordinary form, without using a metrical composition, no metrical composition and no rhyme. This is a poetry. And S.T. Coleridge says a poetry, small definition I want to tell you. S.T. Coleridge says words, poetry is words in their best order. Words in their best order. So order is very important. We all have learned parts of speech, isn't it? We should keep them in order to express a proper sentence. Syntax. Syntax means a sentence arrangement, a words arrangement. That is a syntax. So, and it's possible to learn language. You want to learn language, it's only possible. A prose is only possible. A prose is only possible to learn, not a poetry. A poetry we can enjoy. In poetry, the beauty of language is expressed. The beauty of language is expressed in poetry. What is a poetry definition? A simple definition I want to tell you. The best words. This is a poetry means a poetry. This is a simple definition. A poetry means the best orders, the best words. Okay, in their best order. In their best order. This is a poetry. Now in this lesson, we are gonna learn a prose lesson, first plight, letter to God. I want to ask you a question. Do you believe in God? I believe in God. I love Him. I like Him. I adore Him. I worship Him. I praise Him. This is my belief in God. Like Lencho, do you? It's your question. Tell me back. Alright children, and before we start off the lesson, a letter to God, and we should understand a small introduction about the author, G.L. Fuentes. Now let's move on to the introduction about the writer. Yes, is G.L. Fuentes. And this man, you're able to see here, this man, G.L. Fuentes. And his full name is Gregorio Lopez Fuentes. Was a Mexican novelist and poet, journalist. And he was one of the leading chronicles of the Mexican Revolution. And G.L. Fuentes was born in a ranch called El Momi in the Huasteca region of Veracruz in 1895. In his youth, he spent much time in his father's general store, where he came in contact with Indians and farmers and laborers of the region, whose lives he would later describe with deep insight. And his stories were seen exciting, humorous, symbolic, Mexico. So in his writings we can see, excitement, humorous. And he started writing at the age of 15. So my God, like your age, class 15 means class 10. Your age, Mexican Revolution began. At the time, Mexican Revolution began. Many of his books are related to the civil conflict. The present lesson also demonstrates a conflict, a struggle between man and nature. This is a theme, man and nature, trust and distrust. Many we can see. Let's move on to the lesson. Yes, a letter to God. The main character is a Lencho. And a woman is also there in the lesson, and elder children, younger children are mentioned. Next, the main character. Let's move on to. Have you ever written, or have you ever seen and written this kind of inland letter? I used to use. At this moment, we are living science and technology moment, and we are all using WhatsApp and all Twitter, Instagram, all social networks, media, and now it's the main instrument once, a letter. We used to wait for the reply from our neighbors, kids and kins. Now, the utmost affection was there in the letter. Now, here it is, first paragraph. Now, let's move on to the story. And the story starts with a valley. The main character is a Lencho. The characters, now let's see once. Characters, Lencho, and a woman who's, we don't know that whether the woman is wife to Lencho, but woman is mentioned clearly, and children, perhaps his wife. And then some characters, a postman. Next character is a postman and postmaster. And next, postmaster. So these are the characters of this lesson. The first paragraph, let's see. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill, and from this height one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promise to a good harvest. The sound is harvest. The only thing that needed was a downpour, and at least a shower. But throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. Now I want to ask you a question. And I want to ask you a question, please. Have you ever visited any field? I have beautiful experience with the fields, crops, like a Lencho. Right. So now you can see here, the house, the only house, here the house, the only house, the entire valley here, mentioned here, the entire valley, the only house, the entire valley. Okay, valley, the valley. sat located on crest of a low hill. Crest means top of the hill. Where was the house located or situated? On the crest of a low hill. From that height, and everybody could see the river, the ripe field, and everything given. It's a beautiful scene, that view. Everybody can watch. The fields, the river, the streams, all. This is a rural background, valley, a rural background. So this is the character that is mentioned here. Intimately, what is the meaning intimately? Valley. The sound you can see here, valley. I mostly write the phonetic transcript because of the sound that we should learn. I write, kindly note it down. And now intimately. Intimately means closely. He knows his crops. He knows even, see, some farmers, peasants, they can see that by seeing, observing the sky, they can say that whether rain comes or rain comes or not. So that much experience that the farmers, they have. Here is also Lencho, the main character, was well known about his crops, an ox of man, and he was waiting for the rains. The crop needs badly the rains. Now let's see what happened. He was looking at north here. See here, and northeast. The wind comes, travels. Right. Now next paragraph. Now let us see. Now we are really going to get some water. Woman. So perhaps his wife. Woman. The sound is woman. And he is talking with his wife, perhaps. Woman, now we are really going to get some water. The woman was preparing supper. The main night meal is called supper. The sound you can see here, not supper, and you should write supper. Supper. This is the sound. Supper, night meal, evening meal. Now, the woman who was preparing supper replied, yes, God willing. So, not only Lencho, if God wishes, yes, we are going to get water. Water means rain. God willing. The older boys were working in the field while the same time, the smaller boys were playing near the house until the woman called to them all for dinner. Come for dinner, now she called. Preparation over, now she called. Now, it was during meal that evening time. Just as, now what happened now, see here. Just as Lencho predicted, foreseen, foresaw, predicted big crops of rain, began to fall. Now started. It was raining. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. Now he was observing. Lencho was observing and he was standing at direction to northeast, and he was observing. And he could see the clouds. North clouds are bringing water. Clouds bring water. Now his hope increases now. Let's see. The air was fresh now one can understand the air was fresh. At the time, clouds bring water, the smell is tasty. The smell is very tasty. You can observe the layer when the first drop of water or the rains fall. Then see the mud will rise up, and that reaches to our nostrils. That's a beautiful smell. So the air was fresh and sweet. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. So this is a man versus nature. Man is inseparable from nature. Man is inseparable from nature. Nature is also right. To have the pleasure of feeling of the rain on his body, when he returned and he exclaimed, "These aren't raindrops falling from the sky." He was exclaimed, "These aren't drops." These aren't means drops. These aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. So raindrops are compared here, new coins. What was the comparison, please? Raindrops are compared here, new coins. And big raindrops are 5 cents, 5 here cent Mexican currency. And now small are you can see little ones are 5 cents money coins comparison. So then why was compared? Because it was very valuable. So he was waiting for the rain. Now let's see next paragraph. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a cotton. It's not cotton of rain, but suddenly a strong wind began to blow. Along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. My goodness. He was feeling happy. Okay. And suddenly, what happened? Hailstones began to fall. Hailstones. Hail means ice. Icy stones. Rain of icy stones began to fall. Then can the crop sustain? No, it's highly impossible to sustain. So, and these truly did resemble. Resemble means look like, as if. Comparison, look like. Resemble means look like. Resemble means look like. These means here hailstones ran out to collect. Now here the boys exposing themselves, they came out to the rain and ran out to collect the frozen pearls. So here once again frozen pearls. Frozen, freeze, frozen. V3 pearls. So raindrops are compared, hailstones are compared, frozen pearls. So it is an adjective. It's an adjective. Frozen pearls. Now let's move on to next paragraph. It's really getting bad now. He expected good thing. Instead of that, was getting bad from nature. Exclaimed the man. I hope it passes quickly. He expected, I hope. This is a hope here is a verb, wishes. Wishes. Hope means here, hope means wishes. He wishes, it passes, goes quickly, immediately. He feels that okay, the hailstones go immediately. But no, it did not pass quickly. It did not pass quickly. For an hour, the hail rained on the house, on the garden, on the hillside, and on the cornfield. The whole valley, it rained. The hailstones, the entire on the garden, on the field, entire valley. The field was white. That became white, as though. It's a manner of conjunction, as if is used for comparison, like as though, as if it covered like salt. How we cover with the salt something, like the entire crop was covered with salt, that much white. So complete crop was covered, draped. The entire crop was draped with salt. Right. Not a leaf reminded. Not a leaf remind. Not a leaf remind means here you can see not a leaf reminded. Left. Reminded means even a single leaf was left. On the trees, the writer is used negative emphasis. Not a leaf, beginning, the adverb not kept in the beginning of the sentence, so that it's an emphasis. Not a leaf reminded on the trees. Now, the corn was totally destroyed, ruined. Okay, and the flowers were gone. Gone is adjective here. You can note down. Gone is adjective here. Gone. All left. Gone means here left. From the plants. So even a single leaf, entire, no leaf, everything gone from the plants. Lento's soul was filled with sadness. Don't say that ness, and the exact sound is nas. Sadness. Okay. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field, said to his sons. Now with unhappy, like middle of the field, he stood, and he was talking to his sons. Now we are very clear, the woman is his wife, because sons are mentioned here. Okay, the sons are mentioned here. So beginning paragraph, we are clear that the woman was his wife. A plague, a group of locusts, insects. Locusts meaning is given here. You notice it once. Locusts, insects which fly a big swarms, a group, and destroy crops. So a plague of locusts would have left more than this. At least if the insects are pesticide or a pest or something, or insects, a crop related, some insects will come and spoil. At least they would have left something. But the nature, the storm, the hailstones covered with the entire crop that become like a salt, nothing would left. Every leaf was reminded, that means left, gone, nothing was left. The hail was left to nothing. This is also a negative emphasis. The hailstone, the hail, this is the sound. Hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. He was talking to his sons. Lynch was talking to his sons. That night was a sorrowful one. One means year, night. That night was very sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There is no one can help us. We will go hungry this year. That was his unhappiness. That was his unhappy feelings. Now let's move on to the next paragraph. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house, solitary means alone, single house, alone house in the middle of the valley. The house was located in the middle of the valley. There was a single hope. There was a single hope. This hope is a noun. This hope is noun. Beginning hope is I hope, that is a verb. This is a noun. A single hope means trust. This meaning is trust. This meaning is a trust. This meaning is belief. Right. A single hope. What was that hope? Hope is from a help from God. God is the only hope. Even our life is also. Sometimes we are left sometimes by the human beings, our relatives, kids and kings. The only hope was God. Now let's see. Don't be so upset. That means sad, upset, sad. Even though this seems like a total loss, even though they were ruined, entire loss, but don't be so upset. Remember, no one dies of hunger. Who will feed? No one dies of hunger. Now this is his hope. The only hope is God. That's what they say. They're talking, the family, the members of the family. No one dies of hunger. That was a confident of the family members of Lencho. All through that night, Lencho thought only of his one hope. So we can understand that he did not sleep. He did not take sleep. He did not take sleep that night. So only one hope. Hope means trust. Hope means trust. Yeah, hope means trust. Only single hope. What was the hope? That was help from God. And now see, whose eyes had been instructed and see everything, and even what is a deep one's conscience. So now the eyes are all on God now. Their hope is on God. Lencho was an ox of a man, working like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. He was an educated, and this sentence tells us that he was an educated. He was an educated. The sentence you can see. He was an educated. How to write, which himself Yeah, how to write. He knows the following Sunday. The next following means next. Perhaps the thing that happened, hailstone that happened on Saturday, the following Sunday, the next Sunday, at daybreak, daytime, and he began to write a letter which he himself, reflexive pronoun is used here, and would carry to town and place in the mail. And it was nothing less than a letter to God. It was difficult for him to go to town, but he wrote at a daytime a letter to God. It was a ridiculous letter. We feel, why do we write a letter? That much belief is there in Lencho. Now let's see. In his letter, this is the first letter. This is the first letter. God, he was addressing. He wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 peso. This is a Mexican currency. Peso. This is the sound. Peso. Peso. Mexican currency, and Argentina and Chile, these countries, they use this currency, peso, in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes, because the hailstone. What was the reason? What was the reason that they become helpless? Because of hailstones, because of hailstones. He wrote a letter, God, send me 100 pesos currency, Mexican currency. And he still now here, this paragraph you see, he wrote to God on the envelope. Now I want to ask you here, one word is there, SOW, and it is actually, it has two sounds. First one is a sow. This is to plant a seed or to scatter seeds to get sprouts. And then sow, the sound is a pig. A pig, sow, a wild pig is called sow. So based on the sound, we should understand. So this is sow, and here it is also. Envelope, and this is. And if E is missing, here E is missing, then envelope to wrap something, not a paper. It is wrapping the papers, cardboards and something, and heavy objects we want to wrap, and E should remove. You should remove E, then you'll get. And then put the letter, drop the letter. E put the letter inside and still troubled, went to town. It was very difficult to him to go to town and drop it. But of course, went to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp. On the letter. He hit and he put a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox, post box. American word mailbox, UK post box. Alright. And now here mailbox. And now see, one of the employees who was a postman whose duty is to bringing letters, mails. Who brings letters, mails to houses. Postman, whose duty is delivering the letters and receiving the letters. Postman. It's not a postman. You can pronounce it postman. Postman. And also helped at the post office. His duty. Went to his boss. His boss means, now you can understand. And postmaster is his boss. Postmaster is his boss. Who was his boss? Postmaster is his boss. Now, laughing heartily, heavily, hot contently, they laughed. Really? Even we too also laugh. Why do we write a letter to God? And if you were there, I were there, in that position, I want to take a loan, I want to consult, I want to borrow some amount from another relative or neighbor, friends, I would have not written a letter. Right. Showed him the letter to God. Oh my God. And then this postman and carried this letter and as given to postmaster, his boss. Postmaster is who organizes the post office. Head of the post office is called postmaster. Postman is different, carrying and bringing letters and carrying letters, delivering letters. And now he was saying, never in his career as a postman had he known that address. I don't know that address even. The postmaster, now he was laughing. Both postmaster, other employees and postman, they're all laughing hot contently, happily they laughed. And then what happened now immediately? Now see here, the postmaster, a fat, amiable man. Amiable means friendly. He was good, kind enough. Amiable means kind enough. Amiable, the sound is amiable man, kindly man, kindly fellow means a person, also broke out laughing. Broke out means sudden laughing is called broke out. Letter to God, like. But almost immediately, now see, immediately he turned a serious, grievous. Letter to God. What a faith of this man. Oh, in our career, this is the first letter. And tapping the letter on his desk, commented, what faith! Oh my God! Such men are there on the earth. Oh God! Now, I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote the letter. That means he completely admitted his faith. I wish I had the faith of the man. He admitted, he agreed, he believed his faith. This letter, who wrote this letter, stamping, now staring up, gazing. A correspondence with God, talking, communication, and exchanging letters. That is correspondence with God. So, in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. He wants to do something. He does not want to shake up his faith in God. Answer the letter, and he decided. The postmaster decided to answer the letter. He wanted to increase the faith. This was really a lovely incident in his career. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it needed something more than a goodwill, ink or paper. Paper and ink is enough. Both are enough. But something needs, what is that? Money. Money, amount. That is a goodwill. Something, a favor is needed here. That's a goodwill. But he struck his resolution, immediately passed something. Immediately he has taken a decision. Resolution means here a decision, a resolution. That was his decision. That was his decision. Now let's see once. Resolution. And it was evident that to answer it, he needed something more than goodwill, favor. Not only ink and paper is enough to answer him, but something is needed, that favor. And he passed some resolution, and that means he has taken some decision. He wanted to help him. He wanted to help him. He asked for money from his employees, and he himself gave a part of his salary, salary, some part. And several friends, several means many, several means many friends of his were obliged. What is the meaning obliged? See here, the sound is quite different. It is not, it is not, the sound is obliged, did do something, and to do something, oblige. The sound is oblige. Oblige. Yeah, oblige. This or this one you can. Obliged. They want to do something, to give something for an act of charity. That shows that free of voluntarily. Act of charity means individual help, no force. So this is what. And it was impossible for him, unable to accumulate, unable to gather altogether the 100 paisas. So he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. A little more than half means 100, half means a 50, and then more than half means, and then 20% added. So 70%, that means 70 pesos were gathered. He put the money in an envelope. It's not envelope. Okay, addressed to Lencho, and with it a letter containing only single word. Signature is God. From God. From God. This is the signature. That's the signature. Now, the following Sunday, the following means the next Sunday, Lencho came a little earlier, as usual to ask if there was a letter for him. It was the postman himself who handed the letter to him, when the postmaster, experiencing the contentment, satisfaction. Contentment means satisfaction, and performed a good deed, looked on from his office, and now he was peeping through the window or through his office, and he was looking at the farmer Lencho, and he wanted to see his happiness, satisfaction. Now Lencho showed not the slightest surprise. Slightest means at least least surprise on seeing the money. That was his trust, belief in God. Such was his confidence, but he became angry. Why was angry? Because he did not receive as he wished 100 pesos. He wanted, and he addressed to God, and he wrote clearly, send 100 pesos, and he received 70 pesos. Now he became angry. What would happen? The post office employees might have taken the rest of the amount. That was his notion. That was his idea. That was his feeling. And now counted the money, and he became angry. he became angry, and God could not have made a mistake. God never made a mistake, makes mistake. Now could he have denied? Denied means rejected. Denied means rejected. Rejected. And now Lencho, what he had requested. So that was his belief. Immediately Lencho went up. Immediately Lencho went up to the window and asked for paper and ink for writing back second letter. First letter, he asked 100 pesos and he did not receive 100 pesos, 70 he received. In fact, these 70 pesos were gathered by post office employees. And now second letter, immediately went to the window and asked a paper and ink, and he produced a letter. In his letter, second letter, now let's see what is that. And with much wrinkling of his, wrinkling means now this wrinkle means like now the face like keeping very seriously and keeping his skin wrinkles, and on table and public table, on the public table, and he started to write, and much of wrinkling of his brow. It is not a brow. This brow. These are the brows. This part is brow. Eyebrow. Now, and caused by the effort he had to express his ideas. And when he finished writing letter second time, and he went to the window, and by a stamp which he licked, then affixed means fix it, and now glued it, and the employee, the envelope covered with a blow of his fist, a hit. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, as I said, post box, American English, mailbox. The postmaster went to open it, and he wanted to see whether, and the postmaster could expect at least a thanks, happiness, and he expected, and he said, now this was the matter. Second letter, God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me, but send me the rest, God, since I need it very much. But I don't, I need it very much, badly need God. That was his belief. But don't send it to me through the mail, post office, mail, because the post office employees are there. A bunch of crooks. Bunch means group. They will take crooks. It is not a crook. The sound is crook. The sound is crook. That means dishonest fellows. These crook means dishonest, deceivers, dishonest fellows. So, fellows, God, don't send me the rest of the amount through the mail, because of the employees, post office employees are a bunch of crooks. They are deceivers. They take. This was the story, a Lencho character, a faithful man, a trustful man who trusts in God's nature, and he was an ox of man, an educated, who knows very intimately about his crops. When his crops were ruined, and he produced a first letter seeking to get 100 pesos, the next letter the rest of the amount, and also he commented the post office employees, they helped him. Instead, he couldn't understand That was his belief. And he wrote a letter back to God, sent it back, not through the mail. Okay? Okay, friends. Thank you for listening. And next video, we're gonna discuss another lesson. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Bye.